The opening ceremony of the 6th World Forum on Intercultural Dialogue themed Dialogue for Peace and Global Security was held at the Baku Convention Center on May 1st. President of the Republic of Azerbaijan Ilham Aliyev attended the event. The forum, organized by the government of Azerbaijan in partnership with the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, the United Nations Alliance of Civilizations, and the World Tourism Organization and the Islamic World Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, brings together 700 distinguished guests representing more than 100 countries. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the forum, the President of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, spoke about the situation in the region after the war, emphasized that Azerbaijan is working very actively, took the initiative to start negotiations on the peace agreement with Armenia, and even prepared the basic principles and draft of the peace agreement. President Ilham Aliyev emphasized that although Azerbaijan fully restored territorial integrity and sovereignty last September became the subject of unjustified political attacks, nevertheless it made a proposal for peace. The head of the state said, "Now we are seeing positive trends on the peace track. At the same time, border delimitation has actually started. It's not just delimitation but demarcation. It's currently underway. When I speak, it's happening now. This was achieved by the two countries without any mediation. This once again demonstrates that we don't need mediators, especially those who pursue their own goals and don't want to help but rather want to penetrate in our region for their personal, political and economic interests. They want to once again pour oil to the fire and explode the South Caucasus. We will not allow that to happen. After 30 years of confrontation, I think Azerbaijan and Armenia clearly understand that we need peace in the South Caucasus. Peace in the South Caucasus can only be achieved through normalization between Azerbaijan and Armenia." President Ilham Aliyev stressed that during his presidency of the non-aligned movement, Azerbaijan took important steps towards its establishment, said that we are strongly committed to multilateralism and have promoted the values of multilateralism during our 4-year chairmanship in the non-aligned movement from 2019 until the beginning of this year. The head of state noted that today in the 21st century, we cannot afford to allow some big European countries to continue colonizing other peoples. This is absolutely unacceptable. When we raise our voice nationally and previously at the chair of NM, it's not because we are acting against any country. It's just because we defend justice and international law. President Ilham Aliyev says that the world should not turn a blind eye to the disgusting practice of neocolonialism. This suggests assimilation. It's forced assimilation. It takes place in more than 10 French overseas territories. This must be stopped. Note that 4 plenary sessions and 12 panel discussions are planned within the framework of the 3-day forum. Topics to be discussed include education, youth, climate change, artificial intelligence, protection of cultural heritage, illegal migration, and other areas. The building of Western Azerbaijan Television, which operates within the Western Azerbaijan community, was inaugurated. Community leadership and well-known public representatives participated in the event. Chairman of the board of the Western Azerbaijan community, member of the parliament Aziz Alakbarli, said that the Western Azerbaijan Television has been used to convey the truth about our compatriots who were deported from their villages in stages over the last 200 years and about our heritage that was destroyed in Western Azerbaijan, including in a peaceful, safe, and by closely supporting the activities for the return with dignity. It focused all his work in this direction. The chairman of the community emphasized that the newly commissioned building of the television station is equipped with all the facilities to carry out this activity.
The launch of Western Azerbaijan Television is the beginning of a new stage in the activity of Western Azerbaijan community. Because as a community, our goal is to convey the events that happened in Western Azerbaijan in the last 200 years to the general public and to promote them on a global scale. I think that television will play a big role in the conveying of the truth of Western Azerbaijan, our historical folklore, traditions, ethnic cleansing and deportations against our compatriots in those areas to the general public. Western Azerbaijan Television will have a big role in these issues, and WATV will play its role in the return of people to their ancestral homes.
Speaking later, Deputy Chairman of the Board of the Western Azerbaijan Community, Member of the Parliament Hikmet Babaoğlu, wished success to the television's activities and emphasized that the channel is also important in terms of promoting the rich heritage, history and culture of Western Azerbaijan. After cutting the red ribbon, which is symbolic of the opening, guests and media representatives got acquainted with the building. Ulviya Zulfikar, head of the Public Relations Department of the Western Azerbaijan Community and Department of Western Azerbaijan Television, told reporters, With this opening ceremony, the broadcasting policy of the television is renewed. Thus, the television will broadcast 6 times a week, 3 times in Azerbaijani, 3 times in Russian for 2 hours. Moreover, a half-hour review in English is planned during the week. Along with traditional TV programs such as Discussion Times, News Release, Human Story, a program about the activities of national leader Heydar Aliyev in connection with Western Azerbaijan, Great Leader and Western Azerbaijan, about the work done by President Ilham Aliyev regarding Western Azerbaijan towards Western Azerbaijan, about the concept of return is our right, reflecting the misfortunes of our compatriots against humanity, as well as deported heritage, reflecting the tangible and intangible cultural heritage of Western Azerbaijan, step-by-step Western Azerbaijan, literary Iran, Western Azerbaijan flowers and other programs will also be broadcast. Note that appropriate studios and necessary equipment were installed in the building of the television station for filming the mentioned programs, and ample conditions were created for the creative team to work. On May 7, an international symposium dedicated to the deportation of local residents of Western Azerbaijan will be held at Gazi University in Ankara, one of Turkey's leading universities. The organizers of the symposium, entitled Forced Resettlement from Western Azerbaijan, are the Turkey-Azerbaijan Friendship, Cooperation and Solidarity Foundation, the Center for Research and Applied Initiatives of the Turkic World at Gazi University, as well as the Intercultural Relations Association of Turkey. The participants of the event include the head of Turkey-Azerbaijan Friendship, Cooperation and Solidarity Foundation, Aygün Attar, rector of Gazi University Musa Yıldız, experts, scientists, reservists, writers, journalists. It's planned to hold 5 panel discussions on the historical heritage of Azerbaijanis and perspectives on returning to their ancestral lands. At the event, opinions will be exchanged on the legal consequences of the deportation of Azerbaijanis from the current territory of Armenia. Azerbaijan for the first time held an Olympiad among school children on Western Azerbaijan. Students of 9 and 10 grades of secondary schools of Baku participated in the first stage of the Olympiad, organized under the name Return to Western Azerbaijan. The Olympiad in the capital city started in the morning at the secondary school number 18. About 10,000 students participated in the initial stage of the Olympiad. At the initial stage, students were presented with 30 questions in a closed test format and were given 70 minutes to answer them. Based on the results of this stage, the students who will participate in the regional stage of the Olympiad have been determined. Fuat Karayev, Deputy Director of the Institute of Education, said that the final stage of the Olympiad is planned to be held in Nakhchivan Autonomous Republic in June.
The Olympiad consists of 3 stages. It consists of district, city, regional and republic stage. Students who achieve high results in the district city stage will be invited to the regional stage. With the decision of the organizing committee, we will determine the students who will participate in the regional stage according to their results. The final stage is planned to be held in Nakhchivan. So in June, a grand final round will be held in Nakhchivan regarding the return to Western Azerbaijan. At the end, 18 students will be declared winners. We will present 3 of them with Olympic gold medals, 6 with silver medals, and 9 with the bronze medals. The Olympiad will not be ended here. Olympiad participants will take the tasks given here to the classroom and discuss them with their classmates. If 10,000 students participate in the Olympiad today, it means that 100,000 students will be informed about the task here.
Chairperson of the Women's Council of the Western Azerbaijan Community, Malahat Ibrahimgizi, said that this project will be sustainable. This Olympiad is held in all districts and regions of our country. It's also held in our territories liberated from occupation. It's really a great project and it will continue. Through this Olympiad, school children will learn our history better. There have been serious restrictions against our people regarding Western Azerbaijan. But Azerbaijan is a strong state, a state that liberated its land within 44 days. The youth of Azerbaijan united and put an end to the 300-year-old Armenian plan. Through such Olympiads, our youth will be more powerfully armed by learning history. Note that the Olympiad is carried out in partnership with the Ministry of Science and Education, Ministry of Education of Nakhchivan Autonomous Republic, Institute of Education, Western Azerbaijan Community and Nakhchivan State University. The purpose of organizing the Olympiad is to educate students about the history, geography, culture, literature, prominent public figures, historical figures, toponyms and folklore of Western Azerbaijan and ensure in-depth study of knowledge. A map proving the massacre of Turks by Armenians in eastern Anatolia in 1915 was discovered in the archives of the Ottoman Empire in Turkey. According to the İHA news agency, the archival document was presented by historian and writer Sezmi Yurtsever. According to him, about 200 million documents in the archives of the Ottoman Empire were studied as part of the research on the massacres committed by the Armenians in eastern Anatolia. We came across the paths of migration and settlement map. The map also shows the roads leading to Ankara, Konya, Adana, Urfa, and Diyarbakir from eastern Anatolia, which was occupied by the Russian Empire in 1915. In 1916. The map also shows the settlements, shelters, and medical aid stations created for hundreds of thousands of Turks who were forced to leave their homes after the approach of the Russian Armenia and the Armenian militants cooperating with them to the vicinity of Sivas. The historian noted that this map, in addition to showing the mass migration routes of Turks to the Caucasus and Anatolia in 1915 and the following years, showed that Turks, not Armenians, were subjected to massacres and genocide during this period. The Turkish scientists emphasized that comparing this map with other archival documents, it can be concluded that 700,000 Turks migrated to central Anatolia from the territories occupied by the Russian Empire at the end of 1916. The Armenian diaspora and the forces that support them try to present the events of 1915 as the Armenian genocide, which is a distortion of history and one-sided interpretation. World historians should familiarize themselves with this map of mass migration and settlement. Tens of thousands of documents in the Ottoman archives shed light on the events of 1915-1918. In 1915, about 30,000 Armenians living in the Ottoman Empire crossed the border and joined the Russian army. In the same year, massacres were committed in one province in the territories occupied by the Russian army, and people were forced to migrate. During the withdrawal of the Russian army from eastern Anatolia under the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, thousands of towns, villages were massacred in Erzincan, Erzurum, Van, and Kars. Ottoman officials compiled a list of the dead, and their number reached 500,000, said the historian. A meeting was held with the members of the Board of Directors, the Control Inspection Commission, the Supervisory Board, and the Yas Council of the Western Azerbaijan Community. On April 27, a meeting was held with the members of the Community Management Board, Control and Inspection Commission, Supervisory Board, and Youth Council in the Western Azerbaijan Community. Chairman of the Board of the Western Azerbaijan Community, member of the Milli Mejlis, Aziz Alakbarli, who delivered an opening speech, briefed the meeting participants about the organization of the community and wished them success in their future activities, stating that the mentioned councils play an active role in the overall work of the Western Azerbaijan community. Then Chairman of the Board of the Western Azerbaijan Community, Deputy of the Milli Mejlis Aziz Alakbarli, Chairman of the Control Inspection Commission Professor Vahid Novruzov, Member of the Yas Council, Member of Parliament Nagif Hamzayev, presented membership cards and badges of the Community Management Board, Control Inspection Commission, Supervisory Board, and Youth Council to the members of the councils participating in the event. The United States Religious Freedom Commission has recently published its next annual report on the state of religious freedom in the world. The part about Azerbaijan in the report is completely non-objective and groundless. In the report, the main source of the claims about Azerbaijan is the writings of three radical nationalist Armenians authors, Khachaturian, Gulyan, Bokcherian, who are financed by extremist organizations such as the Cornell University of the USA and, in fact, the All Armenian Charitable Union and the Aragas Foundation. The showing of defamation proves that this report is biased. Moreover, the inclusion of Daniel Ashpahyan, an employee of the Armenian Assembly of America, among the main authors of the report leaves no room for doubt as to the true purpose of the said piece of paper. The authors of the report did not stop with slandering Azerbaijan. They also called on the US State Department to attribute Azerbaijan to some fictitious category. The clearest evidence of this injustice of this commission, established by the US Congress, is that the commission generally does not monitor Armenia and doesn't publish a report on this country. It turns out that Armenia successfully coped with the cause of religious freedom by completely expelling Azerbaijanis from on the grounds of ethnic and religious hatred and destroying about 300 mosques and all other religious and cultural heritage belonging to Azerbaijanis. It's clear from this that the activity of the Commission is Islamophobic and promotes injustice against Muslims. The Western Azerbaijan community rejects the report and calls on the US State Department and Congress to stop trying to put pressure on Azerbaijan with meaningless means. The community calls on the US government to address real problems in the field of religious freedom, to engage with the issue of the dispersed Azerbaijani religious heritage in Armenia, to ensure the safe and dignified return of displaced Azerbaijanis from Armenia to their homes, and to demand appropriate efforts to protect their rights and freedoms, including religious freedoms, upon their return. A discussion table with young people was held in the Western Azerbaijan community. During the discussion, young people were informed about the objectives, directions, and principles of the establishment of the community. The execution of tasks facing the assembly, including ensuring the right of safe and dignified return for forcibly displaced Azerbaijani population from Western Azerbaijan through peaceful means, coordinating the activities of youth intending to demonstrate their potential for this cause, and discussing the application of modern technological capabilities in the community's activities were discussed through concrete proposals. The administration head of the community, Galip Kasimov, lawyer Saimir Yusufli, members of the Youth Council Faris Jafarov, Mushtat Hassanov, Orhan Guliyev, Ramin Habibzadeh, Abbas Panahov, Shahin Aliyev, Esmira Belijanova, Farida Gurbanova, and others spoke and shared their views on the proposals put forward by the youth. At the meeting entitled History, Deportation and Return Priorities of Western Azerbaijan held in the Kazakh District Literature Museum, Azat Humbatov, deputy head of the Department of Analysis and Forecasting of Socio-Economic Development in the office of the head of the Executive Power of the Kazakh District, Rana Gafarova, the chairman of the Youth Council of the Gamali District Community, Ismail Bayramov, and young people participated. The purpose of organizing the event is to highlight the return of our compatriots forcibly displaced from Western Azerbaijan to their native land as a fundamental right and a peaceful mission to return to Western Azerbaijan, making it one of the main goals of our people. This includes mobilizing the entire Azerbaijani society, especially the youth, towards this noble cause, explaining the points of the concept of return, and increasing awareness about the history, geography, and activities of the Western Azerbaijan community. Preparation of the concept of return was launched after the tasks set by the President of Azerbaijan Ilham Aliyev in his speech during the meeting with a group of intellectuals at the opening ceremony of the building of the Western Azerbaijan community on December 24, 2022. In connection with the development of the concept, public discussions were held, a special email was created, and after considering all the proposals, the concept of return, the main document of the Western Azerbaijan community, was adopted on January 26, 2023. The concept defines the general framework for the objectives, principles, preparation, and implementation measures of the activity to be carried out by the community for the return of Azerbaijanis forcibly deported from the territory of Armenia. The document is based on international law, relevant domestic law, historical facts, and serves to establish justice and peace. The concept states that the people of Azerbaijan have suffered severely from armed conflicts, occupation, ethnic cleansing, forced displacement, and genocides during the past 2 centuries. The complete deportation of Azerbaijanis from the current territory of Armenia, where they once constituted an absolute majority, ended in 1991. Following the ethnic cleansing, exclusively Armenians live in that area. In most cases, the ethnic cleansing committed against Azerbaijanis was carried out through violence, genocide, mass murder, and other crimes against humanity and gross violations of human rights with the systematic activity of state authorities. This process was particularly violent and brutal in 1905, 06, 1918 to 1921, 1948 to 1953, and 1987 to 1991. In modern-day Armenia, historical and cultural heritage belonging to Azerbaijanis, including mosques and cemeteries, were massively destroyed, toponyms were changed, and systematic racial discrimination against Azerbaijanis was carried out. The concept states that the community doesn't accept the injustice committed against Western Azerbaijanis during the past 2 centuries and rejects the consequences of these acts. In the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the Convention relating to the status of refugees, and other important international instruments, the right of return of our compatriots based on established international norms is affirmed, creating conditions for the return of displaced Azerbaijanis from Armenia to their homes and ensuring their individual and collective rights upon return is declared as community's main goal. The main principles of the activity to be implemented with the concept are listed in this way. obtaining a legally binding international agreement with an appropriate verification and guarantee mechanism so that Azerbaijanis expelled from the territory of present-day Armenia can return to their homeland voluntarily in a peaceful, safe and dignified way. Securing the return process with appropriate humanitarian socio-economic aid programs, establishing international monitoring, reporting, security, intervention and other necessary activities to prevent the re-eviction, discrimination and harm of the returning population, ensuring sustainable rehabilitation and reintegration of Azerbaijanis through implementation of reconstruction and reconciliation measures under international supervision. The return process should restore the settlement configuration of Western Azerbaijanis before the deportation. Attempts to disperse deported Azerbaijanis with various pretexts and legal tricks during their return will be rejected as a form of racism and a harmful approach that is an obstacle to reintegration. Deviation from this principle can only happen based on the free will and consent of the persons concerned. Due to the fact that Armenian government has committed large-scale and systematic violence against the Azerbaijani population on ethnic grounds, the community does not trust this state and its security matters and therefore considers it necessary to deploy an international security mission with an appropriate mandate and the forces of countries trusted by Western Azerbaijanis in the areas to be returned to. The concept emphasizes that the Armenian government is responsible for eliminating the consequences of the violation of property rights as well as all violations committed against Azerbaijanis. The Armenian government should ensure the return of property and community lands belonging to Azerbaijanis, pay for property damage and losses caused by preventing the use of property. Armenia should pay all the costs arising from the restoration of property rights of Azerbaijanis and take other necessary measures. With the participation of United Nations specialized agencies, the community is making efforts to assess the state of cultural heritage belonging to Azerbaijanis in Armenia, including the preparation of a list of cultural heritage examples that have been damaged and erased from this land, and to achieve the fulfillment of the obligation of the Armenian government to restore and protect them. It should be noted that the concept of return circulated as an official document of the United Nations on March 28, 2023.